from the planet in order to increase its speed. And now bear in mind that the object of this exercise is to get the spacecraft to Saturn as quickly as possible so that those of us who are involved in the mission are still alive by the time the spacecraft gets there. But all this meant is that by the time we got there, the spacecraft was screaming by, and we actually had to slow it down in order to allow it to be captured into orbit. So more than half of the mass of the spacecraft at launch was fuel that was expended in this maneuver, which took about 90 minutes for us to slow the spacecraft down. As I said, it went just eerily perfect. And after that, the scientists clamored for years with the engineers at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory to be allowed to maneuver the spacecraft so that we could take pictures of the rings, because this brought us closer to the rings than we had ever been before and will ever be again, certainly in this mission, maybe even in our lifetimes. And we collected a fantastic array of pictures during this, again, something like a 90-minute or hour-long period of time. And this is a lot of what we saw. We saw wave features. These are the waves, as I said, that are the kissing cousins of the spiral arms and galaxies. And they are the handiwork of orbiting moons. They're places where the moons are perturbing the ring particles. Here in a density wave is where the non-circular orbits of the particles, again perturbed by the moons, are phased. They're oriented in such a way as to give you narrow regions of larger than average concentrations of particles that spiral around the planet. And this is in fact a bending wave, what we call a bending wave. It's a corrugation in the ring plane, again brought about by the perturbation of a moon, exciting the inclination of the particles so that they all behave in a very coherent way to create these beautiful structures. By studying these structures, we come to understand what the nature of the particles is in the rings and how they behave, how they collide with each other. These are all fundamental things we want to learn about the rings, and also what this information will tell us about the way planetary formation started. Other places where we're seeing perturbations by moons is local. That is, moons embedded within the rings are also capable of sculpting the rings through their gravitational perturbations. This was a picture taken after we had crossed over the dark side of the rings and went below the ring plane onto the illuminated side and looked back at the rings. And this is the F ring, discovered or first imaged by Voyager. Here is Prometheus, one of the shepherding satellites. This is the outer edge of the A ring, so this is basically empty. And here you see these structures we had never seen before. And they are structures created by Prometheus as it orbits interior to the F ring. They're beautiful structures. Here's another view of them. And this has given us insight into what happens when you have a moon close to a ring, creating perturbations in it. And here is a picture taken later on, not during the Saturn orbit insertion maneuver, where we caught Prometheus actually stealing